Every year, the cycle repeats itself. We set out with grand aspirations. The new year feels like a blank canvas, a fresh start, an opportunity to be better, to live better, to be someone we've always dreamed of becoming. And in that excitement, we make New Year's resolutions. We dream big. We promise ourselves that we'll change. This year will be different. At first, it's all exhilarating. The goals we set seem exciting, motivating. We feel like we're in control, like we have everything lined up. But somewhere along the way, something shifts. The resolutions that once brought us hope now feel more like obligations. They become tasks on a never-ending to-do list, a constant reminder of what we've failed to do. What was once a source of excitement now feels like a weight we can't seem to shake. The pressure builds, and instead of finding motivation, we find ourselves overwhelmed. And that's the problem. Resolutions, especially the big ones, often carry an unspoken expectation: perfection. We set out to transform our lives, but we don't always leave room for imperfection. We expect immediate results, without considering that real change is messy. And when we fall short, as we inevitably do, we feel like we've failed. But here's the truth. Failure is part of growth. It's part of the process. When you set lofty goals and aim for big change, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that any deviation from the plan is a setback. But growth doesn't happen all at once. It doesn't come with perfect steps. It's not linear. And when we expect it to be, it feels like a burden rather than a motivation.
So, what happens when the excitement fades and the resolution begins to feel like pressure? We abandon it. We give up. We tell ourselves we've failed, that it's too late, that we might as well wait until next year to try again. But that's the pattern. We let the pressure of perfection, of success, dictate our worth. We tie our value to our ability to meet expectations instead of recognizing the effort we've put in, no matter the outcome. The problem isn't that we set goals. It's that we set them with the idea that we must achieve them or we're failures. And when we don't meet those expectations, it doesn't feel like growth. It feels like defeat. This pressure is amplified by comparison. We look around and see others who seem to have their lives together, effortlessly meeting their goals, effortlessly becoming their best selves. We wonder why we can't do the same. We convince ourselves that we should be just as successful, just as perfect, just as good as everyone else. But here's the reality. No one is perfect. Everyone struggles. Everyone faces challenges. Everyone stumbles. And that's okay. It's normal. The key is to recognize that progress is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing up even when things don't go as planned, even when you feel like you failed. When resolutions start to feel like a burden, it's easy to stop trying. It's easy to throw in the towel and wait until next year, or the next week, or the next day. But what if, instead of seeing our resolutions as rigid expectations, we saw them as invitations? Invitations to grow, to try, to learn, and to be kind to ourselves when things don't go as planned. What if we gave ourselves permission to be human in the process? What if we embrace the fact that growth doesn't happen all at once, that change is gradual, and that the small steps we take every day are the ones that truly make a difference? The pressure to be perfect doesn't serve us. It doesn't push us forward. It holds us back. Because when we focus solely on the destination, we forget to enjoy the journey. And the journey is where the real growth happens. The real transformation isn't about making it to the end goal perfectly. It's about the lessons we learn along the way. It's about the times we stumble and get back up. It's about the moments when we have to pause and reflect, when we realize that the process itself is the point. That's where true change lives.
So, when your New Year's resolution feels heavy, when it starts to feel like pressure, take a moment to breathe. Step back. Remind yourself that you don't have to be perfect. The goal is not to reach an endpoint, but to keep moving, even when the path isn't clear. It's about persistence, not perfection. It's about showing up for yourself, even on the days when you fall short. And it's about being kind to yourself in the process. The real secret to lasting change isn't in the resolutions we make. It's in the relationship we have with ourselves when things don't go as planned. It's in the patience we give ourselves, the understanding, the ability to start again. So if your resolutions haven't gone perfectly, That's okay. You're still growing. You're still moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. And that's what matters. If big resolutions don't work, maybe it's time to rethink the way we approach change. Real growth isn't about making sweeping, drastic changes all at once. It's about the small steps, the daily choices, the quiet moments of persistence that slowly but steadily lead to lasting transformation. Instead of setting grand, overwhelming goals, what if we focused on tiny, achievable actions that over time add up to something much bigger? We've been conditioned to think that change has to be big, loud, and obvious, that if we're not seeing immediate results, we must be doing something wrong. But true change isn't linear. It's messy, it's subtle, and it's often much slower than we want it to be. The path to growth doesn't have to be filled with monumental shifts. In fact, it's often the small, consistent efforts that lead to the most profound results. When we focus on small steps, we give ourselves permission to move at a pace that feels sustainable. We allow ourselves the time and space to grow without the pressure of needing to be perfect from the start.
Think about it. When you look back on your life, the moments of real change weren't necessarily the big, dramatic events. They were the small decisions, the quiet choices you made when no one was watching. They were the times you showed up for yourself, even when it felt like nothing was happening. The true work of growth happens in the small moments, the times you decide to keep going, even when you're not seeing the immediate results, the days you choose to be kind to yourself, even when you've fallen short. These small actions accumulate, and over time, they transform you. When we focus too much on the end goal, we risk missing out on the beauty of the journey. The process of becoming is just as important as the destination. In fact, it's the process that shapes us, teaches us, and molds us into the people we're meant to be. If you can let go of the pressure to achieve everything all at once, you'll find that the journey itself is where the magic lies. There's no need to rush. There's no need to judge yourself when you don't see instant results. The most important thing is that you're still moving forward, no matter how small the steps may seem. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't set goals. Goals are powerful. They give us direction, purpose, and motivation. But instead of setting rigid, all-or-nothing resolutions, try shifting your focus. What if the goal wasn't perfection, but progress? What if instead of trying to overhaul your entire life in one sweeping move, you focused on making small, sustainable changes that align with your values? What if, instead of aiming for perfect progress, you simply aimed to improve by 1% each day? Small steps aren't just more achievable, they're more sustainable. When you break your goals down into manageable actions, you make room for consistency, and consistency is what leads to lasting change. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the enormity of the task ahead, you give yourself permission to take one step at a time. Every small action is a building block, a piece of the larger puzzle, and over time, those small actions compound into something much bigger than the sum of their parts.
Imagine the power of focusing on one small thing each day. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning. Maybe it's writing down one sentence in your journal before bed. Maybe it's simply choosing to be present for 5 minutes of your day, rather than rushing through it all. These small changes don't feel like much in the moment, but when done consistently, they build momentum. They create a foundation for larger changes to take root. And as you begin to see the results of your efforts, you'll notice that they feel much more sustainable than any big resolution ever could. The beauty of small steps is that they're flexible. They allow room for life to happen, for setbacks to occur, and for you to learn from mistakes without feeling like you've completely failed. When you set small, realistic goals, you create space for forgiveness and understanding. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to keep moving forward. And sometimes, progress is simply about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. By focusing on the small things, you take the pressure off yourself. You stop tying your worth to a checklist of accomplishments, and instead, you learn to value the process of becoming. And when you let go of the need for perfection, you open yourself up to the possibility of lasting change. It's not about doing everything right. It's about doing what you can, when you can, with the intention to grow. So, if you're feeling discouraged by your New Year's resolutions, remember, it's okay. You don't need to achieve everything all at once. You don't need to be perfect.
start with small steps. Start with progress, not perfection. And most importantly, start where you are. Because every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward the life you want to live.